Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Janine and I are here together. We're really excited, and we're going to be talking about kind of esoteric things today. And we're going to call this series The Pulse. And we're really excited about it because we're going to get to share things that we probably don't all. I mean, I talk about this stuff a lot, but
Yeah.
Janine is going to get to do fun things that she's going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Fun, esoteric, weird things. So, the first thing we're going to get into today is the ETs. And we introduced that when we were in Ireland together. And I'm talking to my higher self, and I'm just going to give you some of the things that have come in from my higher self. And then Janine is going to have a question later, and I will tap in, like, raw with whatever question she has. So the ETs really want to contact us, and I've been seeing them on like a big screen. So either that's going to be the television, and I feel like it'll probably be with Trump. Um, but they really want to contact us. I feel like we're getting very close to that. And it's going to explain a lot of things. So, what's been happening on Earth, what Earth actually looks like, and also tech will really rapidly come out that we've been missing out on. So the world will change very quickly as soon as we have first contact. So that's what I've been getting.
hmm
And I want to see what Janine gets with her cards because it's going to expand everything.
hmm I've been getting a lot of that, what you're saying, honey,
Mm-hmm.
in lots of polls, and in particular, this three-eye atlas, just even the coming of it, whether it's actual or is it part of the theater or is it
Right.
universal theater? Like, is whatever it is, it's bringing the general population into the conversation. I feel like it's important, regardless what it actually does or doesn't do. It is quite far away from Earth, so of course, right? And we're
Yeah.
not sure like exactly what we're looking at or getting, but I feel like it's really just starting the conversation on a really global scale. What do you
Mhm.
think of that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I did a show with Richard the other day and we talked about it. And I'm like, this is the introduction because they're doing weird things with it. NASA is showing very interesting things like
Yeah.
stopping and disappearing. And I'm like,
Hmm.
okay,
Now,
what's your plan with
NASA,
that?
that's pretty interesting. NASA, like, so the world's biggest staged
Oh, yeah.
BS show, that's a
Mhm.
theater. But it is interesting because I feel like it was White Hat Alliance taken over some time ago. So I
Mhm.
don't think it is run by the same people. They all quit. I feel
Yeah.
like or they were fired. I feel like we've got a whole, they're using all of the infrastructure of NASA for something totally different. And
Mhm.
so it makes it interesting that NASA is sort of leading the way with the information about Three Eye Atlas. Like, it's fascinating.
I think so too. Yeah. It's really fun to watch right now.
Fast and furious. Things are happening fast and furious. This guy's really interesting because he's intuitive, but he's also intellectually bright. So he uses his instinct, intuitive knowing, but also his intellect, and goes fast into something. So he never misses. Like, he's not going to be sleeping on the job or sleepwalking through life. So energetically, things are happening fast and furious, and it's both intuitive and we're learning things at the same time and getting truth at the same time. And then it's coupled with this moving out of troubled water. So certainly, like we've both been talking about, everything that's happening right now is setting up for more information fast. So
Mhm.
information, things that have been hidden from us. This guy moves out of, if you see here, he's moving out of choppy water, moving
Mhm.
his whole family out of, or maybe the whole family of humanity, out of not knowing into knowing something. So there's clarity with that card. We're getting clarity and it's coming fast, and it's both intuitive knowing. So a lot of us are picking up on it intuitively, but also literally intellectually, we're learning truths about. So this it's all about truths about, and I don't think they can hold it back. I feel like it's coming, whether governments like it or not. Doesn't matter who doesn't like it. The bad guys that have been repressing us and repressing knowledge, doesn't matter. It's coming anyway. It's timely.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that too. It feels very intense. And also, the energies are really intense that are pushing us to be like ready for it, basically. So, meditation about ETs, imagining that you see ETs on the TV screen and what does that mean to you, that will actually help manifest it faster.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, well,
So,
ever since I had that little connection with that, what seemed like an ET sort of touching my hand through a window, first in my car and then later in my house, like almost, well, it seemed like it came right through the window. I feel like I'm not a bit, first of all, I'm not a bit afraid.
mhm,
Secondly, I'm feeling like once we just open up to it, people that are you need good boundaries, but at the same time staying open with good boundaries. I know that's a bit of a trick, but important.
mhm.
And just know what you're willing to be a party to. And I feel like those people ready like that, they'll see these energies, entities, or they probably already are. Actually, maybe they have been since childhood.
Yeah, I feel like for people, especially like in the older age group, like is me and you, we kind of probably saw all kinds of stuff as kids and then we blocked it out.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to see it again. We're just starting to allow it again. And it's like the brain has to decalcify,
Mm.
practically like come back to itself and allow us to see that again.
Yeah.
Because we only see like less than 1% of the light spectrum, but it's really cool what's happening for humanity right now. And we're starting to see more and more things. And I had an ET show up in the bedroom, and I woke up to her, and I was super rude, actually. I was like, "What are your intentions?" That's what I asked her. And she was probably 20 feet tall. She was all crouched down. She looked like a combination of a humanoid and a deer, and
Mm.
it was just beautiful, just completely silver. And she had this huge like rack that looked kind of like the tree of life on her head.
Mm.
And I was woke up and I said, "What are your intentions?" And of course she's like, "I'm out of here." So she left. But it's really interesting how we react. So preparing the nervous system is really important. So I'm really glad that you already had that experience where they actually touched you. And also it wasn't a big one, because my husband saw a pretty small ET and he wasn't intimidated. And I
Mm.
think so this is for the ETs. Small ETs showing up is easier for us than ETs that are twice our size
Yeah.
for a first time visit.
Yeah. I did have an interesting, now that you mention it, in my room, and it was maybe 5 years, 6 years, just before the pandemic
Mhm.
lockdowns. But 6 years ago, and I had been talking to this guy. He called himself Egyptian priest. And in Calgary, he had a lot of people, if you're from Calgary, you might know who I'm talking about. He's kind of an infamous guy. And he runs this belly dancing paraphernalia shop. So all kinds of costumes and a sort of really tacky Egyptian stuff. And it's ceiling to floor, like full of stuff, just like if you did go to an Egyptian shop in Egypt. Like, and this guy's like legit from Egypt, but he's absolutely like a bit of a con artist, in my humble opinion. So what he was doing was all of these women, and they were all like really kind of Karen-y types. Excuse the term, and
Mhm.
sorry, I do have some great friends named Karen, so no offense meant. I'm just trying to get you guys the idea of what I'm talking about, and real nerdy types, and definitely sheeple. And like I wouldn't have called them that then because we weren't talking like that back then. But these women, there was a whole group of them. I happened in on it, but there was a whole group of them, and he was telling them, weaving these tales, but he was using a whole bunch of Christian language. So he was kind of pretending he was Christian and adding a whole bunch of Jesus language and stuff. But if you just looked beneath what he was saying, because I think he was trying to appeal to them, or that was his sort of scheme.
Mhm.
It was deep. He was weaving deep Egyptian, I think, dark magic. And I right away, and he kept commenting and looking at over at me that the tarot was evil and stuff. Interesting because they sell tarot cards in that shop, so I found that interesting, and incense and all kinds of things in there, but no, tarot's evil. And he just kept like repeating and repeating these things. It was almost like he was putting these women in a trance. And then he smudged everybody, but I call it smudging, but he was using incense. I think it was that resin type, really. They
Mm.
use it in church a lot. I forget what it's called. At Easter time. People in
Oh,
the
okay.
audience might know what I'm talking about. But anyway, and he was like clearing them. He was really talking a lot about their sexual energy, like. These were all women around my age group, so I'm in my 60s. So it was quite humorous to see their little faces, like, and he was making them spread their legs and smudging between. Yeah, it was. So I don't know
Wow.
where the group came from, but they were all listening, hanging on his every word. And I was just like, wow, this guy's got these guys in a trance. He was about 70 or so anyway, himself. Fascinating guy, but just a real magician. Okay, after I left that day and that night, ice, like what I thought was Isis, the goddess Isis, came into my room and lit the whole room up. But now, in retrospect, I think it was an alien because it was a winged creature with like a bird head. But I assumed because I've been in that shop and I was thinking a lot about this Egyptian guy and what really kind of magic was he? What it was he kind of spell casting on these women? I found it fascinating, and I definitely had to protect my energy from his while I was in the shop. But I'm a
Mhm.
curious George and a bit of a spy, so I had to be like listening in on like I was, and
Yeah.
he knew, and that's why he kept mentioning like, and he was intuitive, and he knew I was a tarot card reader anyway. So when that night, this my whole room lit up and all the walls disappeared, and
Mhm.
it was like an orb of light and energy, and this winged creature just lifted its wings. I saw that it had a bird head, but again, assuming it was Isis, and then poof, just disappeared. And I was like, wow, just came to visit. But that was, I think that was an alien. I think that was an other dimensional anyway.
Yeah, I would say it was an other dimensional, but so I've seen that in the astral plane, and it was somebody that I knew. It was their soul, but they were in that garb, and they did have wings too, and they had the bird